So Frank. We meet him after he slashed his wrists in the wrong direction. He's just come off of a series of devastating losses. He loses his boyfriend, which causes him to lose his job, as well as the MacArthur Genius Grant, all of which end up in the clutches of his professional rival. Cheryl takes custody of him and is explicitly told that Frank is not to be left alone. His new roommate is a teenage mute who worships at the altar of Friedrich Nietzsche. At the dinner table, Cheryl hands him a Mary McCheese cup, and he stares at the plastic object, stupefied. He takes an instant dislike to Rich, and when Cheryl asks Frank to come to California, he begrudgingly agrees, realizing that his autonomy is now a thing of the past. We only really get hints about Frank's former life as an academic, but it's fair to say that the preeminent Proust scholar fell from quite a great height. As much as he resents still wandering the mortal coil, Frank succumbs to his curiosity. He starts to take an interest in Dwayne, he befriends Grandpa fairly quickly, he shares his hyperfixation with Olive, he makes Cheryl laugh by giving Richard shit, and he manages to find joy and exhilaration in the simple act of pushing and chasing the bus. And while Frank is haunted by his old life and still ashamed of his new one, he becomes emotionally invested in the family, following Rich in his various schemes, and performing the most epic chase scene in film so that Olive can register for the competition. When people start booing Olive, Frank gets defensive of her and stands up to cheer her on. A mere few days ago, this man was completely numb and apathetic to the world. It's also worth noting that when Olive asks Frank if he believes in an afterlife, Frank basically couches his reply. And though Olive is just being curious and could probably handle a blunt, truthful answer, Frank is trying, and failing a bit, to come up with a sincere but age-appropriate response. Looking back at the dinner scene, Frank goes pretty hard on his explanation of his bandaged wrists. And yes, Olive was able to handle it, but Frank maybe should have been a little more moderate in the discussion about his suicide with a 7-year-old. You do get the impression that Frank was partially caught up in his sadness and anger, and partially trying to piss Rich off. He's not really concerned about Olive here. By the time Olive asks him about heaven, Frank is stable and secure enough to prioritize her emotional safety.